Somewhere right now, someone is looking at a calendar, not casually, the way you glance at a date to check what day it is, deliberately, with the specific kind of attention that belongs to someone who is tracking time towards something, counting backward from a moment they are already living inside their imagination, even though it has not happened yet. They are measuring the distance between now and the next time they get to be in the same space as you. And whatever that number is, it feels too large to them. It always feels too large. That image arrived the instant I opened your energy today, Virgo, and I sat with it for a long moment before I began pulling cards, because there was something so precise about it, something so particular to a very specific quality of longing, that I wanted to make sure I was reading it accurately before I brought it to you. And everything the cards confirmed in the spread that followed only deepened the specificity of that initial impression. This person is not simply thinking about you. They are oriented toward you the way a compass orients toward north, constantly, involuntarily, as though you exert some gravitational pull on the direction of their attention that functions entirely independently of whether they have decided to let it. Let me walk you through exactly what Spirit showed me today. The first thing I felt when I sat with your energy was not the longing of the other person, it was yours. A particular quality of emotional restraint that belongs specifically to you right now, something careful and measured, the energy of someone who has learned, perhaps through experience, to hold their feelings a little more privately than they used to. I am sensing you are not wearing everything you feel openly at the moment. There is a version of what you carry about this person that you have been keeping close to yourself, examining in quiet moments rather than expressing freely, because something in you is not yet certain enough about the ground to step onto it fully. I want to acknowledge that before we go any further, because I think it matters that you are seen in your caution as much as in anything else. The restraint is not absence of feeling. It is the protective posture of someone who knows how much they have to give and is not yet certain it will be received the way it deserves to be. What the cards are about to show you may shift some of that uncertainty, not because uncertainty is always wrong to hold, but because this person's interior experience of you, the one they are not fully expressing either, is considerably more intense than you may currently be giving yourself permission to believe. The first card in this reading opened with imagery of fire, movement, a figure on horseback, closing distance, at speed, carrying something extended outward in offering, the body leaning forward with unmistakable momentum. This is not the energy of someone passive or waiting. This is someone in active motion toward you, whose feelings have crossed the threshold from private experience into genuine intention. I am sensing the court energy here is someone whose emotional world is rich and deeply felt, someone governed more by the interior landscape of feeling than by external circumstance or logical calculation. When this person decides to feel something, they feel it completely. And what they feel about you has been building rather than diminishing across whatever distance or time has existed between you lately. The momentum in this card is not new. It has been accumulating. What is arriving now is the expression of something that has been present and growing beneath the surface for longer than its eventual expression would suggest. I also want to speak to the specific quality of the offering depicted in this card, because I think it reveals something important about this person's intention. They are not coming towards you with uncertainty about what they are carrying. The extended hand, the open gesture, the forward lean of the entire body, these are not the postures of someone still making up their mind. This is someone who has already decided and is now simply moving through the space between the decision and the moment you receive it. The second card shifted the energy in a direction I want to describe carefully because it speaks to what this person experiences internally when they think about you, which is most of the time. This card shows a figure sitting up in bed in the dark, surrounded by 9 swords arranged on the wall above them, their face buried in their hands. On the surface, this appears to be suffering, but I want to read this card as it actually functions here in the context of everything else in this spread, rather than in isolation. What I am sensing is not that this person is in anguish about you in a painful or damaging way. What I am sensing is the specific restlessness of someone who wants something they do not yet have. The sleepless quality of longing that makes the ordinary hours feel stretched and the quiet moments feel loud. This is someone who lies awake, turning you over in their mind, not in the desperate way of someone who has lost hope, but in the alive, electric, almost uncomfortable way of someone who wants something intensely and knows exactly what it is. The sword suit governs the mind and the quality of thought, and these 9 blades are the 9 directions their mind goes when they allow themselves to fully inhabit what they feel about you. The thoughts are not dark. They are simply numerous, and they are relentless, and they do not stop arriving just because the hour is late or because there are other things that need attending to in their life. I want to name something about this that I find genuinely moving. This person is not in a position of comfort about their feelings for you. The intensity of what they carry is not easy to hold. They are not casually, pleasantly interested in you the way you might be interested in a film you enjoyed. What they feel is closer to something that has installed itself in the center of their daily life without asking permission, and what keeps them awake is not worry exactly, but the fullness of something they are not yet able to put down or deliver. Does any of this feel like it maps onto a real person in your life right now, Virgo? Is there someone whose presence in your thoughts has a quality of inevitability to it? Someone whose name arrives in your mind with a particular weight? Let me know in the comments, because the energy around this reading is specific enough that I believe most of you watching will feel it landing on someone particular almost immediately. The third card I want to speak to showed me something about the history between you and this person, and it is a card I always receive with genuine tenderness when it appears in a reading like this one. This card depicts 2 figures facing each other, each holding a single cup, a winged creature hovering between them at the level where their cups nearly meet. This is a card of genuine recognition of the specific moment when 2 people see each other clearly and understand that something real exists between them. It is also a card associated with connection that carries a quality of destiny, not in a rigid, predetermined sense, but in the sense of something that feels, to both people involved, larger than a coincidence and more significant than an ordinary meeting. I am sensing there was a moment, perhaps a specific conversation, perhaps simply a stretch of time spent in each other's presence, where something shifted between you and this person from pleasant to significant. A moment where the register changed, where you both felt, even if neither of you fully articulated it, that whatever this was, it was different from the ordinary texture of daily life, different from the other connections you each navigate. That moment is alive in both of you in a way that has not dimmed with time or distance, and it is part of what makes this person's counting of days towards seeing you again feel so charged. I also want to address the balance depicted in this card because it says something important about the dynamic. Two cups held at the same height, both extended toward the center. This is not an imbalanced dynamic. Both people are bringing something of roughly equivalent weight to this connection. I know that when we are uncertain about someone's feelings, it is easy to imagine that our investment is greater than theirs, that we care more, that we are more affected. The card today is specifically pushing back on that assumption. Whatever you feel about this person, and I am sensing it is considerable, the weight on their side of this exchange is not lighter than yours. I want to go one layer deeper into this card because the creature depicted hovering between the two figures carries its own symbolism that I do not want to pass over quickly. In traditional readings, this image points toward the alchemical union of two forces that are distinct but not opposed, the sense of something emerging from the meeting point between two people that could not have existed from either one alone. I am sensing this describes something genuine about the specific quality of energy that exists when you and this person are in each other's presence. Something in the atmosphere between you shifts when you are together. Both of you feel it. Neither of you has been entirely able to explain it to themselves or to anyone else because it resists the kind of explanation that makes sense in ordinary language. It simply is the way certain things simply are, and its existence is part of what this person finds themselves pulled back toward when they allow themselves to imagine the next time they will be in the same room as you. Inhale deeply for a moment, Virgo. I want to move into the fourth card now because what it revealed about the energy approaching you is something I want to make sure lands with its full weight rather than being absorbed too quickly. This card shows a figure emerging from a still pool of water, standing upright in gleaming armor, holding a sword aloft toward a clear sky. This is a card of mental clarity arrived at after a period of uncertainty or deliberation. It is associated with truth being spoken aloud, with decisions crystallized, with the moment someone stops circling a thing in their mind and moves directly toward it. I want to be clear about what I am reading here. This person has reached a point of genuine clarity about you and about what they want. Whatever internal process they have been running regarding this connection, whatever questions they have been sitting with, whatever hesitations existed in earlier chapters of this dynamic, those have resolved into something clean and decided. The sword held upward is not aggressive. It is the posture of someone who knows what they think and is no longer managing the dissonance of uncertainty. What this means in practical terms is that the communication or contact or presence this person is moving toward bringing into your life is not going to feel tentative or ambiguous. When they reach out, when they make the move that the counting of days has been building toward, it is going to be clear. You are not going to be left parsing subtext or wondering what they actually meant. The clarity they have reached internally is going to translate into a clarity of expression that removes the kind of ambiguity that tends to make reconnection exhausting rather than relieving. I also want to speak to the element of this card, which belongs to the suit governing thought, communication, and the quality of mental engagement. This is an intellectually and verbally significant energy approaching you, meaning the conversation this person wants to have with you is not a shallow one. They want to talk to you. Really talk the way that makes an hour feel like 10 minutes, the way that leaves you feeling more known than you were before it began. That quality of conversation is what they have been missing, what they have been counting days toward more than anything else. The fifth card arrived in what I read as the position of outcome, and I want to describe its imagery slowly because it deserves it. A figure stands at the edge of a mountain, overlooking a vast landscape, one foot raised as though mid-step, moving forward. The sun blazes behind them at a particular angle that suggests early morning rather than midday, the quality of light that belongs to genuine new beginnings rather than simply continued brightness. Around their feet there is the sense of something that was heavy being left behind, not dramatically discarded but simply no longer carried, as though the act of moving forward made it unnecessary. I am sensing this card is describing the energy of what becomes possible once this person sees you again, once the distance they have been counting through collapses and what they have been carrying privately is finally in the same room as the person it belongs to. Something about this reunion, even if it is a simple one, even if it looks ordinary from the outside, carries the quality of genuine beginning rather than mere continuation. I want to speak directly to you, Virgo, about what this card suggests for your own experience of this meeting when it happens. I am sensing you are going to feel something shift, not dramatically, not in a way that will necessarily make sense in the moment, but in the quiet, bodily way that real things tend to register before the mind has caught up with them. Something is going to ease. Something that has been slightly held and slightly braced in you around this connection is going to release because this person's presence is going to confirm something you have been hoping was true, but protecting yourself from fully believing. I want to address something about the specific quality of the longing this person has been experiencing, because I think understanding its texture helps you receive what is coming with the appropriate weight rather than either overreacting or underreacting to it. This is not the longing of infatuation. Infatuation has a quality of urgency and instability to it, a feverish need that tends to diminish when it is not immediately fed. What I am sensing from this person is older and quieter than that, closer to the longing of someone who has simply oriented their idea of the good toward you, who has allowed you to become part of their private definition of what a good day contains. When they imagine things they would like to do, places they would like to go, conversations they would like to have, you are woven into those imaginings in a way that has become so habitual they may not even fully register it anymore. It is simply how their mind has come to work. The counting of days is the surface expression of something much deeper than a desire to see a face they find appealing. It is the specific ache of someone whose inner life has been quietly reshaped by knowing you, who has found that your absence creates a particular kind of gap that nothing else fills in the same way. I want you to let that land fully, Virgo, without immediately deflecting it or minimizing it or qualifying it with all the reasons it might not be exactly as significant as it sounds. Let it simply be true for a moment before you do anything else with it. I want to speak briefly to what I am sensing about the timing of all of this, because I know that is likely sitting somewhere in the back of your mind as you receive this reading. I am not going to offer you a precise date because precision of that kind asks more of energy reading than it can honestly deliver. What I can tell you is that the movement in this spread feels genuinely near, not theoretical, not eventually, but the kind of near that exists in the same conversation as soon, where soon means within reach rather than someday in a future too distant to see clearly. I am also sensing that what bridges the remaining distance may not require dramatic action from either side. Sometimes the final gap between wanting to and actually doing closes through something small, a slight shift in circumstances, an opportunity that presents itself naturally, a message sent on an ordinary Tuesday that turns out to be the one that finally crosses from intention into reality. I want you to stay alert to small openings rather than waiting for a grand gesture, because the energy I am reading does not feel like it is building toward performance. It feels like it is building toward honesty, and honesty tends to arrive quietly. I also want to speak to something I am sensing about your own role in the closing of this distance, because the cards are not only describing someone moving toward you, they are also pointing toward a quality of openness that will be needed from your side when the moment arrives. The restraint I described at the very beginning of this reading, the careful guardedness that has been protecting you, is entirely understandable and genuinely wise. But I am sensing there will be a moment in the upcoming reconnection where something small will be asked of you, not a grand gesture, not a dramatic dropping of all your walls at once, but a single small signal of genuine welcome. A moment where you allow this person to see just enough of what you actually feel to confirm for them that the ground they are walking toward is solid rather than uncertain. That small signal, when you feel ready to give it, is going to matter more than you might expect. It is going to be the thing that finally converts all of this accumulated longing on both sides into something that actually moves and breathes in real life, rather than continuing to exist only in the private interior of two people who are both feeling more than they are saying. As I bring this reading toward its close, I want to leave you with the full picture spirit assembled for you today. Someone is counting the days until they see you again. Not metaphorically, not casually, but with the specific, alive attention of someone for whom you have become genuinely necessary in a way that surprised them with its depth. What they feel is not tentative or provisional. It has been building through whatever time and distance have existed between you, resolving from something uncertain into something clear, moving now from private experience toward actual expression. You are not imagining the weight of this connection. You are not inventing significance where none exists. What you have sensed about this person's feelings for you is, if anything, an underestimate of what they are actually carrying. The gravity you feel in both directions is real. The approaching moment where that gravity finally closes the distance between you is real. And what becomes possible on the other side of that moment is, the cards suggest, something both of you have been quietly hoping for longer than either of you has said out loud. Get ready, Virgo. Not because it requires preparation, but because something genuinely good is closer than it has ever been. If this reading reached you somewhere real today, please share it with a Virgo who needs to hear that someone is coming toward them with something true. And drop a comment below. I want to know who came to mind the moment this began, and whether this landed in the way it was meant to. I read every single comment, and I hold every story in this community with genuine care long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo. Someone is counting, and when they lose count of the days because they are finally standing right in front of you, that is when this reading will have fully delivered what it came to say.